Hello, welcome to my channel, Dnevnicите на проф.Невяна. Today's lecture is about consumer and business buyer behavior. Why it is so important and which are the main concepts that we shall go through this video. First, we shall try to understand the consumer market and the major factors that influence consumer buyer behavior. Next, we shall identify and discuss the stages in the buyer decision process, and after that we shall describe the adoption and the diffusion process for new products. We shall define the business market and identify the major factors that influence business buyer behavior, and list and define the steps in the business buying decision process. What is consumer behavior? It refers to the buying behavior of people who buy goods and services for personal use as defined by who, when, what, how, and why. These people make up the consumer market. The central question for marketers is: how do consumers respond to various marketing efforts the company might use? How about culture and this consumer behavior? Culture is the most basic cause of a person's wants and behavior. Culture is learned from family, church, school, peers, colleagues. Culture includes basic values, perceptions, wants, and behaviors. What is subculture? These are groups of people with shared value systems based on common life experiences. Which are these major groups? You may have at the US market Hispanic consumers, African American consumers, Asian American consumers, and mature consumers. What is social class? Societies are relatively permanent and ordered divisions whose members share similar values, interests, and behaviors. They are measured by a combination of occupation, income, education, wealth, and other variables. There are some main social factors, like groups, meaning membership, reference, opinion leaders, and aspirational. Family, most important consumer buying organization in society. And of course we have some roles and statuses. Role means expected activities, and status equals esteem given to role by society. There are some personal factors to be considered when we are speaking about consumer buyer behavior. These are age and lifestyle stage, occupation, economic situation. Lifestyle. This is the pattern of living as expressed in the psychographics, like activities, interests, and opinions. And we shall consider personality and self-concept. Personality refers to the unique psychological characteristics that lead to relatively consistent and lasting responses to one's own environment, generally defined in terms of traits. Self-concept suggests that people's possessions contribute to and reflect their identities. We have already studied with you the Maslow's hierarchy of needs, which means self-actualization at the top, esteem needs, social needs, safety needs, and the fundamental ones, the psychological needs. What is perception? We have some information inputs, interpretation, selective exposure, selective distortion, and selective retention when are speaking about perception. The process of learning is also very important for the consumer buyer behavior. It is a relatively permanent change in behavior due to experience, interplay of drive, stimuli, cues, responses, and reinforcement, strongly influenced by the consequences of an individual's behavior. Behaviors with satisfying results tend to be repeated. Behaviors with unsatisfying results tend not to be repeated. A belief is a descriptive thought that a person holds about something. An attitude is a person's consistently favorable and unfavorable evaluations, feelings, and tendencies toward an object or idea. Which are the steps in the buying decision process? First comes need recognition, next information search, evaluation of alternatives, purchase decision, and post-purchase behavior. There are several sources of information: personal, commercial, public, and experiential. Buying decision process contains factors that influence purchase decision, like attitudes of others and unexpected situation factors. Consumer satisfaction is a function of consumer expectations and perceived product performance. If the performance is less than expectations, we have a disappointment. If performance equals expectations, we have satisfaction. And if performance is higher than expectations, we are delighted. Cognitive dissonance means that a buyer's doubts shortly after a purchase about whether it was the right decision. There are several steps in the adoption process. The first one is awareness. Consumer becomes aware of the new product but lacks information about it. The second step is interest. Consumer seeks information about new product. And evaluation. Consumer considers whether trying the new product makes sense. The fourth step is trial. Consumer tries new product on a small scale to improve his or her estimate of its value. Adoption is the fifth step. Consumer decides to make a full and regular use of the new product. There are several product adopter categories. The first one we call innovators. Next come early adopters, early majority, late majority, and laggards. What is the influence of product characteristics on rate of adoption? The relative advantage is the innovation superior to existing products. Compatibility. Does the innovation fit the values and experience of the target market? Complexity. Is the innovation difficult to understand or use? Divisibility. Can the innovation be used on a limited basis? And communicability. Can results be easily observed or described to others? Business markets and business buyer behavior are also important. The business market is vast and involves far more dollars and items than do consumer markets. Business buyer behavior refers to the buying behavior of the organizations that buy goods or services for use in the production of other products and services that are sold, rented, or supplied to others. Business markets are structured and demand. They contain far fewer but larger buyers. Consumers are more geographically concentrated. Business demand is derived from consumer demand. And the nature of buying unit is also important. Business purchases involve more decision participants, and business buying involves more a professional purchasing effort. There are different types of decision and the decision process. Business buyers usually face more complex buying decisions. Business buying process tends to be more formalized. Buyers and sellers are much more dependent on each other. The participants in the business buying process are very important. Decision-making unit of a buying organization is called a buying center. It is not a fixed and formally identified unit. Membership will vary for different products and buying situations. The buying center members are usually users, deciders, influencers, buyers, and gatekeepers. Which are the forces that influence the business buying behavior? These forces are either environmental, organizational, interpersonal, and individual. The business buying process has 8 steps. First comes the problem recognition, next general need description, product specification, supplier search, proposal solicitation, supplier selection, order routine specification, and next comes the performance review. What means e-procurement? You have to check by yourself, but you may pause on this slide and study it deeply. Of course, at the end of this video is the rest stop, reviewing the concepts that we've gone through. And I wish you all the best for your day. Be my guest next time. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.